It's triangle time! Trikonasana, master posture of the series!
So why is it called the master posture? Because it works every muscle, every tendon, every joint, every organ, every major gland in the body. So it's a perfect marriage between your heart and your lungs. We always talk about this in class. It's going to stimulate your cardiovascular system as well as your respiratory system. And when you're doing this posture, you're going to notice that your heart is beating very strongly. In fact, out of all the postures we do in class, this is the one that's making your heart beat the most powerful, because it's the peak of your heartbeat that you achieve in triangle pose. It's also going to stimulate your neural system, as well as your reproductive organs, your thyroid, as well as your adrenal glands. By lengthening your body, by lengthening your spine and opening up the front side of your body, you're giving yourselves room, you're creating space for all of your physiological systems to work more efficiently. So whenever you're stretching, whenever you're opening up your body, it's actually better for all of your systems and all of your organs on the inside of your body. It's going to strengthen and firm your entire body from head to toe. And as you improve your triangle, all of your other postures will improve as well. That's why it's a master posture. So the more focus, the more concentration, the more effort you give in triangle, by default, it's going to improve all of your other postures in time as well.
So you heard all of the amazing benefits this posture has in store for you. So guess what? It's going to take some darn hard work. It is going to take a lot of effort to get all of that goodness going, all of your systems functioning better, strengthening your heart, working your lungs. So you've got to give it 110% effort. This is what you don't want to give up on.
That's a very good point, because one of the key techniques for doing this posture, because it's such a challenging posture, you have to pay attention. You have to bring 100% focus and concentration and awareness to everything you do. So in the classrooms, most of us, we practice with mirrors, so that's why it's so important to double, triple, quadruple chat. You're the best teacher, sir. We're always telling you what to do, but you have to find the alignment with yourselves in the body. And the slower you move, the more alignment you find, not only in triangle, but in all the postures, you're going to find more strength, because you're never collapsing, you're focusing on proper form, and it's by doing the postures in proper form, you're going to find more strength that's going to help you find more balance. So for one of the very first things for triangle pose is obviously always thinking about stretching. You're not only stretching your arms in opposite directions before you move, you're also learning to stretch your chest up, also learning to stretch the crown of your head up towards the ceiling. So by that sensation that you think about stretching and lifting, you're going to prevent collapsing into the floor, which a lot of students ends up happening because you don't have the strength in your legs yet, or the hips are not so open up yet, so you end up collapsing into the posture. By collapsing into the posture, you're constricting the physiological systems, where we were just talking about earlier. By opening up your body, you improve the efficiency of your physiological system. So always thinking about stretching and stretching and stretching, all right? So if I'm going to ask Evan to demonstrate something very quickly, is the step. So by doing the step, you want to take a big enough step. So when you bring your arms down, there's a big enough step. So how you step is going to be very important. 4 feet distance, all right? So ideally, your shoulders are always going to be above your hips. And Eva's stretching her arms in opposite directions. This is very good. This is very important. When you turn on the heel, make sure your heel is flat on the floor and you're just turning your toes to the side. By keeping your heel on the ground connected, that automatically keeps your two heels on one line. Versus some students, they turn on their toes.
That's so much harder to do.
So they bring their heel in actually. So yeah, you bring your heel in and automatically now your two heels are no longer in one line. So always make sure you're turning on your heel. So how big step, small step, it always depends on your anatomy, especially on your thigh muscles anatomy, your femur bone. So when you do it a couple times, you're going to find out that perfect length for you. So when you bend the knee, you're trying to find an L 90-degree angle. So one of the things that you're looking for in the class is make sure you have a 90-degree angle. Knee is ideally above the ankle. Again, it differentiates between different people's anatomies, but this is what you're trying to get. Your heel and knee are in one line. This bone is parallel to the floor. So just doing it here, you can see there are two hips in one line. This requires a lot of strength, and this is the start of triangle pose. So do what you can to bring your hips down. If you're struggling, if you're finding it a challenge, that's triangle. It's a huge posture. And as you sit down, now you start getting benefits into the internal organs by making sure your hips are low enough.
So we say your leg should look like an upside down L. This is an L. Sometimes we see people hanging out here, holding on to the posture. You want to get really low, same thing. This is no longer L. You're sinking into your joints. So you've got to use the strength in the legs to hold yourself up at the 90-degree angle.
So when you're down here, a lot of students find that they start slipping, which is normal. You're going to slip in this posture, you're going to slip in other postures until you develop that inner thigh strength. Two ways to really focus on helping you not slip is really pay attention to your feet. Your feet are stuck glued to the floor, and the more you can press your feet into the floor, the more stability you'll have. You're not hanging out on the outside of your foot. You're pushing your heel into the ground, and you're pushing your big toe down. On your straight leg, you should be able to push, finding that sensation, pushing the outside of your foot down. Paying attention to how your feet are connected to the floor. The other way you can really engage your inner thigh strength is think about bringing your knees together. Think about bringing your ankles together. That sensation, by thinking about it, you're bringing everything into the core, into the midline. And that's ideally where you always want to be bouncing on the center of the body. So shoulders are above the hips still, which is good. So when we always say bring your hips forward, upper body leaning back, you're bringing your arms back a little bit more, opening up the chest. Change, come up.
As opposed to this. So keeping your shoulder and chest heart open.
So before we start moving into the arms, the last thing I want to talk about is, we hear this, we say this a lot, bring your hips down and forward towards the mirror. Creates an opposite and equal reaction with your knee. So a lot of students, when they do this, they're leaning back like this. Their butt is back and their knee is forward. So this is very difficult for you to balance in this posture. So when we talk about bring your hips down and forward, automatically this knee goes back. So you're sitting down low enough, this knee goes back. So if you bring your knee in, you can see that the whole torso, the hip turns back. But the moment I bring my hip down and forward, this knee automatically goes back. But if I do it too much, you can see my whole chest is rotating forward. So the trick is to keep your chest parallel to the mirror, shoulders above your hips, keeping your arms stretching in opposite directions, lifting your chest up, lifting the crown of your head up towards the ceiling, but you just rotate a little bit into the hips to bring this knee back. That's something that's going to help you balance, because if your hips are in alignment, if you're opening up your hips a little bit more, you're going to be able to engage your inner thighs. You're going to really use your feet, so you're going to find more stability on the ground. Just like any other structure in this world, triangles are the most efficient and most natural forms of a building because they're the strongest. So think about pushing your feet into the floor. So that's where your triangle starts. Build everything from the ground up. Build a super strong triangle, just like a pyramid, from the bottom up. So once again, focusing on your feet. So I'll start demonstrating it now. Why not? I haven't really demonstrated too many postures. I've been getting Eva to demonstrate more. So once again, stretching your arms in opposite directions. Turn, and from here, this is such a key point. You look in the mirror. Don't let your opposite hip come up. When you move your arms, you're still stretching the arms, but your whole body, it's just the arms that are moving. The hips don't move. The feet don't move. It's just your arms that are moving. And as you stretch up, you automatically stretch down. And go slow. Stretch up, go stretch down. Stretch up, stretch down. You're always stretching up. You're always stretching up. Even the chest. I'm stretching it diagonally now. I'm stretching the head up because it's still stretching and stretching and stretching. And the more I stretch up, I find space to stretch down. The secret is in stretching up. By stretching up, you create more space in your chest. So the key is to always stretch up. So as you stretch up and down, stretch up and down, stretch up and down, you can see I'm increasing space in my chest by stretching up and stretching down, stretching up and stretching down. So when I touch my toes, my hips don't move and Eva will show a triangle, a diagonal line from my right shoulder all the way down to my right heel. So my hip is not in the way. Some students, their hips go up like this, so it's no longer a straight line. Your hips go down, so you find that straight line.
Here's a triangle. And then you also saw too that there is an opening of the chest, like Adam was saying, opening of the hips. So not only building strength, but by finding openness in the body, you can get into the posture a lot more comfortably. So
the two other important parts that we have to talk about triangles, touching your chin to your shoulder as well as the spine twist, because this is also a spine twisting posture. There's aspects of twisting the spine. So as you go down, once again, move your arms, stretch up and stretch down, stretch up and stretch down, stretch up and stretch down. You're always breathing. You want to stretch up and stretch down. You want to touch your toes. You're never sinking into the floor because then you're collapsing. Stretch up, stretch down. Bring your chin to the shoulder. And the stronger your feet are to the ground, the more connection you have in your thigh muscles. That's what allows you at the very end to upper body turn or twist backwards at the end. You really start opening up the front side of your body. You bring your hips forward, you push your left knee back, and then you bring your arm back and twist backwards at the end. Woo! That's a good one.
It's such a good posture, and sometimes people feel a little bit defeated because they're thinking, how am I going to be in this posture? My hips are up, and you're holding it on for dear life, hanging out here, worrying about slipping. But if, like we've demonstrated, you really hold it here as much as possible, you're going to build so much inner thigh strength that you're going to be able to hold it on lots of even different surfaces. And this is the kind of strength you want, so that you could stand on one leg. This kind of strength is going to help you in other postures. So building that foundation from the bottom up, using your arms, using everything you have, and then make it easier for yourself later, that you don't have to redo the whole posture once you're in the posture. Foundation is key in this posture.
And so with a lot of students, when they do this posture, they don't bring their hips low enough. Yes, it might be a little bit tight, but it's really that effort. Yes, you're going to struggle in triangle. Yes, it's a very challenging posture. But just like in life, if you can handle the challenge and the struggles in triangle pose, you'll be able to handle any struggle and any challenge life presents yourselves. But if you don't go all the way down, and if you're not giving an honest effort, then you're shortcutting yourself, not only in the posture in the class, but also in life, because you're afraid to take on that challenge to bring out the best inside of you. For triangle, you have to bring 100% attention, and you have to bring your maximum effort. Whenever you're stretching up, whenever you're stretching down, you're feeling discomfortable, your heart is pounding, but remember to focus on your breathing, slow things down, and find balance inside of you. Yes, it's a very stimulating posture, very invigorating posture, but it's up to you to learn how to relax in these postures that really bring up a lot of emotions inside of you. We talked about this earlier, that whenever you're opening up the chest, you're opening up your heart chakra as well. This builds authenticity. It helps you find deeper love for the things that you really care about. Also opening up your heart, it's very vulnerable. So many people live with an armor, with a shield, a collapsed front side of their body. Very vulnerable, not showing the heart. So in this posture, you're learning to open up your heart, opening up your chest. So you're allowing good things, love to flow from you more effortlessly. Never give up. Always find strength. But at the same time, don't be hard on yourselves. These postures are very demanding, and so you're learning to have fun, let go, and simply do the best you can.
My total key takeaway in this one is get low with your hips and stay low, no matter what. That's what you want to focus on, because with that foundation, you're going to just build yourself up for this awesome posture that is working your heart, your lungs, and working all of your systems, getting them nice and strong.
And that's a really good point. Before we say goodbye to you guys, to build strength, like Eva was saying, go down low enough. You can only hold it here for 5 seconds. Come up. And then try it for 6 seconds. Instead of holding on for dear life and starting collapsing into it. Focus on the integrity of the posture, and no matter how many times you need to come out, try again, get back in. Your ultimate destination is to never give up. That means whether coming back tomorrow and trying it again, going down low enough to find strength inside of it.
So again, get low, low, low. Take a picture before, take a picture after, and show us what you got. We love to see your pictures and your improvements. Until the next time.